Imagine a catastrophic dystopian scenario. Civilization has completely collapsed. You are one of the few survivors. Hundreds of years pass, and you find yourself sitting around a campfire, telling a new generation about the old world. You describe a magical glass slab we used to call a phone, a device that held the sum of all human knowledge and could instantly connect you to anyone on the planet. Fascinated, they hand you some scavenged rocks, scrap metal and glass, and ask a simple question: can you make one for us? The reality is, could you? Even if you had a photographic memory, even if you were a world-class physicist and a genius software scholar, the answer is a hard no. You couldn't build a smartphone, you couldn't build a smartwatch, a car, a pair of noise-cancelling headphones, or even a flat-screen monitor. Because in our modern era, absolutely no one can build these things on their own. Not even a trillion-dollar giant like Apple builds an iPhone alone. They get their camera sensors from someone else. The manufacturing is handled by someone else. The global distribution is run by someone else, and the raw materials are mined by someone else entirely. Here at XenoSphere Originals, we love the myth of the lone creator. But the truth of modern technology is much stranger and a lot more fascinating. Civilization became unimaginably powerful by hiding one layer beneath another, until we all forgot what we were standing on. This is the story of why nobody, literally nobody, can build the modern world end to end. We usually think of the past as a time of total self-sufficiency. The lone craftsman in his workshop building a clock or a wagon wheel entirely by hand. But even that is mostly a myth. That blacksmith still needed a miner to get the iron, a merchant to bring the coal, and a farmer to feed him. Modernity didn't invent dependency, it just supersized it. The real turning point happened when we figured out that being self-sufficient was actually a terrible way to get things done. In 1776, Adam Smith wrote about a pin factory. He noticed that if one person tried to make a metal pin from start to finish, drawing the wire, straightening it, cutting it, pointing it, attaching the head, they could barely make one a day. But if you divided that job into 18 distinct steps and handed each step to a specialist, a small team could make tens of thousands. Productivity explodes when nobody has to master the whole process. But industrial civilization took this a step further. We didn't just separate people, we separated systems. Think about the humble shipping container. In the early 1960s, international standards locked in the exact dimensions, the stacking arrangements, and the twist locks for these steel boxes. That sounds incredibly boring until you realize what it actually did. It was the ultimate interface. Suddenly, a crane operator in Rotterdam didn't need to know how to drive a truck in Chicago. A shipbuilder in Korea didn't need to understand the layout of a warehouse in Mumbai. They only needed to agree on the box in the middle. The container is powerful precisely because the truck doesn't need to understand the factory that packed it. We figured out that the best way to build complex things was to create strict boundaries and let everyone on either side of the boundary completely ignore each other. Fast forward to today. You order dinner on your phone. One tap. It feels like magic. But let's look at the sheer weight of the civilization hiding underneath that piece of glass. Beneath your app is a framework. Beneath the framework is the Android hardware abstraction layer, a literal wall of code designed so software engineers never have to talk to hardware engineers. Beneath that is the processor. But the company whose logo is on the phone didn't actually manufacture that chip. They designed it using architecture licensed from a company called ARM. ARM doesn't build chips either. They just sell the intellectual property, the idea of the chip. The actual manufacturing was probably outsourced to TSMC in Taiwan. TSMC is a pure-play foundry. In a single recent year, they manufactured over 12,000 different products for more than 500 customers. They separated the thinking of the chip from the printing of the chip. But wait, it goes deeper. TSMC can't build these chips without extreme ultraviolet lithography machines. These machines are made by a company called ASML. They are some of the most complex devices in human history. Does ASML build them from scratch? No, ASML relies on a network of over 5,100 different suppliers just to build the machine that builds the chip, that runs the code that orders your dinner. And that's just the hardware. When your phone sends that order, it travels across telecom networks, hits edge servers, dives into data centers run by AWS, and routes through financial payment rails like VisaNet. What looks like a digital app is actually a paper-thin orchestration layer stretched over the largest industrial, logistical, and financial machinery ever built. So why do we do this? If this dependency chain is so long and ridiculous, why doesn't some tech billionaire just decide to build the whole stack themselves? Because the math of the modern world brutally punishes anyone who tries. There are three relentless forces at play here: specialization, scale, and modularity. First, specialization lowers the cost of production. If you focus on doing exactly one thing, like dialing in the perfect post-production workflow or polishing silicon wafers, you get ruthlessly efficient at it. Second, there's scale. Recreating the global semiconductor supply chain from scratch in a single region wouldn't just be hard. Industry estimates suggest it would cost at least an extra $1 trillion in upfront investment and raise the price of chips by up to 65%. The sheer cost of entry forces companies to share infrastructure. And third, modularity. This is the secret sauce. When we design complex systems with clean interfaces, it lowers the cost of coordinating. A developer doesn't need to know how to route physical fiber optic cables across the Atlantic Ocean. They just type a deployment command and Amazon Web Services handles the rest. Standards like the shipping container, or TCP, IP for the internet, or the Android abstraction layer aren't just boring documentation. They are technologies that allow strangers to collaborate without ever speaking. You don't want to rebuild the bottom of the stack because renting it is a superpower. But there is a catch. A massive, terrifying catch. Abstraction creates leverage, but it also hides fragility. When millions of creators are all standing on the exact same invisible tower, what happens when one foundational brick cracks? We saw exactly what happens in July 2024 with CrowdStrike. A faulty content update from one cybersecurity vendor hit an operating system used by the entire world. In a roughly 7-8 minute window, the global economy violently stuttered. Flights were grounded, banks paused, hospitals delayed surgeries. We saw it in 2017 when a single mistyped command took down AWS S3, a storage service that silently held up countless other websites and apps. When you share a component, you share its failure. You might be thinking, what about the big guys? Apple, Tesla, SpaceX, they're famous for vertical integration. They build their own stuff. It's a great narrative, but it's an illusion. Vertical integration just changes where you draw the boundary. It doesn't abolish the boundary. Apple deeply integrates its silicon, software, and hardware, but its own reports show thousands of supplier facilities spanning over 60 countries. Tesla builds cars and software in-house, but their SEC filings explicitly list their heavy reliance on outside battery cell suppliers and the global mining of raw lithium. The best vertically integrated companies are not self-sufficient islands. They are just unusually large nodes inside the exact same network. We tend to look at the future and assume that AI and automation will finally let us build everything ourselves. But AI is just the next layer of abstraction. An engineer using an AI coding assistant isn't becoming independent. They are just calling on an even deeper, more complex infrastructure of data centers, energy grids, and algorithms. And that is the profound beauty of the modern world. Progress isn't just about learning how to do more things. Much of human progress came from learning what we could stop doing ourselves. Money lets you borrow another person's labor. Compilers let you borrow decades of computer science research. The next time you build something, remember, you didn't build it from scratch. You built the one specific part that only you needed to build, and you let humanity handle the rest. Civilization works precisely because nobody builds the whole thing.